Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Ask Rebecca radio show. Thanks for joining me. I hope everyone had a decent week. More than likely, you were experiencing a combination of dealing with some minor to major health issues with yourself or someone that you know. Maybe some moments of fear, maybe some doubt, maybe some panic setting in over any number of life situations or experiences. More than likely, it was probably like really silly little stuff that might have just kind of triggered you or created some doubt that maybe caused some anxiety that hindsight, when you looked at it, you couldn't help but kind of laugh about it because it was so silly. So it doesn't feel like it was anything major, but maybe some people were dealing with some more intense stuff there. You may also have felt like you were going nonstop mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually without seeing much progress. So there was just a lot of intense energies. And with that, sometimes, you're not sleeping at night, or you feel like all of a sudden you have to take a bunch of naps. So there's a lot of things that were happening in the spiritual plane that were affecting you in a physical way, but maybe it just really didn't feel like outwardly you were seeing things coming to fruition. But trust me when I tell you, lots was going on behind the scenes, internally and externally, and everyone is going through major overhauls energetically. And if you can just do your best to remember that your true nature is energy and that you vibrate at certain frequencies depending on your mental and emotional state, and then this whole transition period will be much, much easier for you. Remember that everything happening leading up to this point and beyond that you may choose to view as a negative or bad or challenging situation is what is being purged on a collective level from our consciousness that must be released in order to move beyond the limitation of duality that we exist in right now. And all its suffering it needs to be released, and we're doing that on a personal level and a collective level, and we're seeing that play out in many different ways on the macro and the micro. And it's all happening for a higher purpose, and that purpose is for you to be able to experience heaven on earth. It's time to move beyond this existence. And remember that you are the temple that God resides in, and you are making room in your heart to bring yourself into alignment with your divinity. So everything that's not in alignment with that, and all the cages and walls and blocks and everything that is basically has your heart polluted from this existence of duality and, maybe evil, if you will, needs to be purged. It needs to be released. It needs to be let go of. It needs to be healed. And you're healing yourself along with ancestral lines, timelines. There's just so much that's happening on a huge, huge, huge level. It's almost impossible to put into words. But all of that is happening, and it's happening for a really, really good reason, a really positive reason. I didn't get the opportunity to share part 6 of the spiritual war last week, which will be the last in this particular series, because truly there is no war, right? Like there really isn't a war. We have to stop feeding that version of reality so that it can die out. And instead, I'll be focusing on what we need to be doing. But I'll still be sharing some unusual tidbits of information that I come across and things to get you thinking and to really look at this reality for what it is, because that is all part of the awakening process. It's all about, getting closer to the truth and finding the truth, and it's a process. And sometimes it takes years to get through that process. Right now, things are happening on an accelerated timeline, so things will be happening a lot quicker for some of you. Anyway, I will make sure that I post part 6 this week, and in it I'm going to share a video that was shared with me, which explains what I'm talking about in a very easy to understand way, and maybe in a different way than the way that I'm talking about it and discussing. Sometimes we need to hear it in multiple ways and from different people so that we can grasp it and understand it in new ways. And so, it's all about you exploring those things. We have to expand our consciousness to the point where we no longer see ourselves as separate from God, because doing so is still perpetuating duality, division, and separation. And, God is omnipresent, meaning present everywhere simultaneously, present in all places at the same time. And with that, God is present in all places, which includes inside of us. And if God dwells in us and we are created in God's image, meaning his energetic properties of omnipresence and omnipotence, which omnipotent is having unlimited or universal power, authority, or force, and omniscient, right? Omniscient means having total knowledge, knowing everything. Then we also have those characteristics and energetic properties. And really, it's consciousness. So we just forgot, because a long time ago, we chose to have this crazy experience of learning what it means to be in a physical reality with knowledge of evil. And if you really look at the word evil backwards, evil spells live, right? So it's all an illusion of living in a physical reality that we constructed with our minds. So none of this is really real. And we need to stop seeing ourselves as victims of some heinous evildoers who control us and are trying to destroy us and waiting for someone to come in and save us. And, again, we, along with God, knew and allowed this to happen for a higher purpose. And one day we will know what that purpose is, and we will know the truth about our existence and reality. But in this forgetful state that we're in, with the veil of illusion and delusion over us, no one knows for sure what is happening and how it is happening. It's all speculation, and it's God communicating through millions of people in different ways. And I believe every single one of us is sharing a part of the truth at different levels of understanding, or consciousness is the term that I prefer, to ignite remembrance. And that's the journey that we're on right now, where we are remembering who we really are, what our true nature is. But the scope and magnitude of our existence and what is happening is beyond human comprehension, right? It's so huge. It's just so layered and multidimensional, and just, again, out of the scope of trying to be able to even explain it or understand it. And those are the things that we are going to be learning as we're working through this reality and remembering our true nature and our true divinity. So, do your best not to get sucked into any one person's truth, including mine, right? So I'm just speaking from my personal experiences and the things that I'm intuiting and that I'm interpreting. So it's important that you journey within and connect with God and connect with your higher self to find out your truth and what you need to be working on to live from the heart space. Keep the bigger picture in mind. It helps keep the dramas of the world in perspective, and it allows you to live your life free from fear. Take a break from watching all forms of polarized, opinion-based, fear-mongering news for a week or something, or maybe the rest of this month, or anything else that is feeding your anxiety and your fear and anything that is bringing you down and weighing you down. Just try to focus on cleaning up your own polluted mind, bodies, emotions, and lives instead. Go outside, play with your kids, talk to your friends, connect with your romantic partner, exercise, meditate, research a healthy diet. Basically do anything that's going to allow you to detox from this world or the dramas in your life for a minute, so that you can reconnect with yourself and your higher self on a deeper level, and really just kind of sort through things. Because really, you wouldn't know anything about anything except for your own life if you aren't listening to other people or aren't watching the news or going down rabbit holes of information, right? You wouldn't know anything that's happening except for what's happening in your immediate reality. So I think bring it back to your immediate reality so that you can kind of detox from all of this and bring some peace into your life. Okay, moving on. I won't be doing the intuitive messages live again until November 3rd. I am going on vacation to Mexico for my birthday and my bachelorette celebration with all of my besties next week, and I am so excited. I cannot wait. And so I am totally unplugging from this reality and going into a completely different reality. I have lots to handle before then, including supporting clients, but beginning October 22nd through to November 1st, I will not be taking any clients. I am going completely MIA. I will not be responding to texts. I will not be responding to emails. I am going off the grid. I'm going to be lounging poolside. I'm going to be drinking pina coladas. I'm going to be talking shit with my girlfriends and catching up on life. And I'm going to be eating and I'm going to be happy and I'm not going to deal with anything other than that. But I will be back and I will respond to all texts, emails, and voicemails on November 2nd to schedule appointments and get back to supporting others. But for that period of time, I'm going to be just doing me, you guys. All right, let's get into the intuitive messages. Here's what you can expect from today, October 13th, through to November 3rd as an overall theme, and then areas of love, work, finances, health, and spirituality. General themes. Today, Mercury retrograde starts and ends on November 3rd, so you can expect the usual energies at play. My advice, go with the flow and view retrograde periods as a positive time, and you won't be dealing with any major issues unless, of course, there's something that needs purging from your personal life. Well, then, the retrograde energies are going to show up in a more profound way in your life. There may be some difficulties around personal needs or expectations within relationships, meaning you and the other person will have a difference of opinion, which could cause tension, demands, and challenges. With Libra energies at play, you could be clashing over fairness and balance. So it could end up being like this tit for tat scenario where you guys are blaming each other or accusing each other of doing everything while the other does nothing, right? So it's like you're doing a comparison and you're in competition, and basically the whole who's right and who's wrong paradigm is going to be at play. And with the Libra energies, if that's out of balance and things feel unfair to you, then you guys are going to be getting into it over that. I would just like to remind you that everything is a reflection of yourself. So if you are becoming triggered and you're the one that's doing the accusing and the blaming, well, it's your baggage, right? Like, if you're projecting that outwardly, that means you're also doing it to the other person. So that person is going to be feeling the exact same way. You're both going to be guilty of what you blame the other person for. So keep that in mind, because when you're not in your baggage, you would not blame anybody, right? You're not going to be accusing or blaming. You're going to have an understanding of, maybe my partner is having a rough time right now. They're a little internalized. I'm not going to take that personally. I'm going to pick up the slack this week. And I know, 2 weeks ago when I was falling apart, my partner was picking up the slack for me. So just keep things in perspective. We will also see issues play out with authority figures, and that will also be connected to the energy of fairness. So, authority figures can be teachers, principals, cops, politicians, doctors, anybody that you look at as an authority figure, your dad, your mom. So, it could be those relationships that get triggered as well. So again, with that energy too, we really could be seeing this play out in the political spectrum, in the political world. So there might be some protests that happen. There might be just some uprisings and, people trying to regain their power against the powers to be. We're in obviously an election cycle. November 3rd is coming up very quickly. So between now and then, I'm sure it's going to get hot, right? We're going to see some debates happening between the left-right paradigm. Unplug, detach, don't feed into that energy. Don't feed into the energy. Not telling you not to pay attention or be involved, but don't let it affect your life to the point where you become an ugly human being, where you're cutting people out of your life because of the political dramas. Like, none of that crap even matters. Anyway, that's just my perspective. October 16th, this Friday, is the new moon, so you very well could be seeing some new beginnings happening. Also, new moons are a great time to plant those seeds of things that you want to manifest for your future. So whether it's goal setting, taking some simple action steps, creating a vision board, whatever resonates with you and whatever you vibe with, I say go for it. And if you're not into vision board, like I'm not into vision boards, like just not something I like to do. I think they're really cool, and I love to see other people's vision boards, but I don't know. I never got into them. But what I like to do is, at night before you fall asleep, if you meditate and you visualize your goals and you visualize exactly what your life will look like, you're basically programming your subconscious, which your subconscious is what creates this reality. So that's a technique that I really like to use. And if that's something that resonates with you on the 16th during the new moon, just visualize what you want to happen. Like literally just day by day. Like if you're trying to get a new job, visualize yourself waking up the next morning in that new job, what your routine would be, and, basically creating it in that way until you fall asleep. Just keep repeating it over and over and over again. Stressful situations may arise, which can and will bring about deep emotions. They're going to come to the surface, but let them come up. Just try not to become triggered and emotionally react and respond from your emotions, because that's when things get out of hand, right? So instead, allow them to come up, feel them, analyze them, figure out what your role is, figure out what the other person's role is, figure out what needs to be healed, and allow yourself to heal it. Allow the healing to happen and not feed back into the drama of the emotion and fighting about it or blaming, right? Some of these situations could be about deception. And deception could come in the form of lying, cheating, stealing, gaslighting, or any other form of betrayal or deceit. And this includes lying and deceiving yourself from seeing the truth about your role or seeing the truth about your own behaviors and how you might be projecting things onto other people, where you have walls up, where you've lied to yourself and deceived yourself, where you've accepted less than in your life, right, because of lack of self-worth or whatever the issues are. We all have this. You're not alone in that, I had to go through this stuff too. Thankfully, I went through it years and years ago, but I think that happened because I'm in this position where I am now. That was part of my purpose and what I needed to work through in order to be able to help others and support others through this time period. Let's see, confusion and a lack of clarity may be at play as well. So it will be important for you to trust your intuition, but because of the confusion, sometimes it's going to be hard with the intuition to come in. So make sure that you allow time for clarity. Sometimes not acting on anything that happens, right? Take a step back. So again, no impulsive emotional reactions, because you could be wrong about a situation, because this energy is very much about delusion and illusion. So it's always best to be an observer and take time to understand before responding to a situation. And, if you have to respond, just respond, well, hey, you know what? I need to kind of I'm feeling triggered. I need to take a minute and take a step back and process what I'm feeling, and we can talk about it later, right? Like, you don't want to ignore the person or make them feel bad. So you just kind of want to respond in that way and then get clear about things and then come back and communicate, whether that takes an hour or 20 days. Do it. We have more anger and aggression at play. This can also be directed in a way that you could become hyper-focused on a goal, right? Like all of a sudden, maybe you decide, ooh, I'm gonna go vegan, I'm gonna juice, I'm gonna do this, and you totally go hard and you're like overdoing things, or you're like, I'm gonna tackle the house and you start just pushing yourself really, really hard and you become really hyper-focused. But you've got to kind of maintain your balance with that, because you could end up overdoing things and either physically hurting yourself, or you could self-sabotage, you could make mistakes, you could act impulsively, and you just be stressing yourself out. So do your best to use this energy really wisely. Now, at the same time, because this energy is there, if you harness it in a really positive way, then you're going to get so much accomplished. You're going to get lots of projects taken care of. You're going to have tons of energy to get everything done that you want to get done, but in a really methodical and thought out method, right? And taking your time doing it. And you're going to have plenty of leftover energy to enjoy some free time doing things that you really, really enjoy. And there's lots of good vibes and energies around love and money. So even though we have a little bit of a black cloud this month, you're also going to just see a lot of this great stuff coming to fruition with love. So you might be releasing and healing, and love could come in. And if you've been struggling financially, you're going to feel some more of a positive financial cycle. You may have people in your life that are really going to be supporting you, and they're going to be there for you in a big way like they've never been there before. Maybe people in high places, maybe bosses, or again, maybe somebody in a position of power that is above you in some way will be supporting you, whether it's supporting some of your ideas or projects or business. There's just a lot of support there. Your confidence is going to more than likely skyrocket as well. So even if you're like in a really, really low confidence level right now, your self-esteem is going to just improve, and you're going to see that happening over the next few weeks, and it's going to be really great for you, because it's just, confidence. Look, confidence, the secret to confidence is embracing your insecurities and accepting that you're insecure. That's it, right? We all have insecurities. We all have them, and they change from day to day. But if you just embrace them, you love who you are, and you accept that you're insecure, your confidence will shine through. The caution there, because again, we have this intense energy, just try not to let your confidence cross over into pride and ego, right? Like, you don't want to end up being an egomaniac. There could be breakthroughs emotionally as well, and those breakthroughs are really going to be blessings, and you're going to feel that they're blessings. You're not going to be down about whatever emotional breakthrough happens. You're going to be feeling good about it. You're going to be embracing it. There could be some major news happening this month as well over the next few weeks. I feel like one world stage definitely happening on TV land or in TV land, whether it's the political realm, craziness happening with the military or weather, or I don't know, like, it's just going to happen on the world stage. But it's also going to happen in the theater of your life, right? So there's some things that could really pop up. And this news, I feel, could affect you in a very deep way, whether that's positive or negative. It doesn't really matter, because the end result is positive no matter what. So like I said, it's going to affect you in a deep way. October 31st, we have the blue full moon in Taurus and sun in Scorpio, so it's going to be one heck of a doozy. Scorpio will facilitate any healing or dig up the dirt of the Taurus around money, budgeting, material items, earthly things like the environment and independence, or being able to take care of yourself. It could be a stressful time for some and an amazing time for others, or perhaps a combination of the two. And part of this energy is to help you recognize where you identify yourself with outer directed accomplishments versus the value of your internal world. It's recognizing that your success isn't just built on a handful of events in your life, and better yet, your whole entire existence of your soul consciousness, right? Like, you are a spiritual creature. Not creature, you're a spiritual being, a spiritual energy. And if you can practice a level of detachment from the material gains of this world through these energies, you're actually going to see more abundance in your life and less stress. Journey inward and focus on the mundane day-to-day things in your life. Focus on your spiritual world. more, and your outer world will be created to match. It's going to be beautiful. The rest of this month will be one wild roller coaster ride of high highs and low lows. Plus, I can't help but feel like we are going to see some craziness in the world. All right, I'm going to speed it along because I only have a few minutes left. So work, for those of you employed and unemployed. Some of you could see a change for the better, whether currently employed or not. This could be a new position or better pay, or maybe even both. Those of you unemployed, it could be a better job, or it could be a job, and for some, this is tied to the creation of your own business. Perhaps you land your first sale, client, or project. The downside to this energy is you could be dealing with someone in your environment who is impossible to please or constantly complaining. Learn not to be like them. Some of you will recognize that work is not your whole life. You've had a major shift from being a workhorse and neglecting other areas of your life to finally gaining clarity and balance. Some aggressive energies at play as well for both employed and unemployed. So this could have a significant impact in this area for the good, but perhaps on the heels of some challenges. Love, for those of you in committed relationships and dating seriously, you and or your partner could be wrapped up in work conflict or issues of stress connected to work. This could affect your relationship. Do your best to work together and support one another instead of taking things personally. Create the time with each other. Some of you could be fighting over money matters. No matter what arises or doesn't this week, there's tons of opportunities for the two of you to connect on deeper levels and have more intimacy and joy. Those of you looking for love, some of you singles could actually meet someone who works in finances or handles money in some way, or it shows up in the form of this person either makes more than you or less than you, and it becomes a focal point. Some of you will meet someone that's ready and willing to be in a deep, meaningful relationship. Just remember to stay grounded. In reality, every relationship will have its highs and lows. You'll have things you are meant to learn from each other to heal old wounds. Finances, financial cycles will be improving for those of you with a positive outlook. And just remember, money is a tool. Health, some of you will be facing and venting negative feelings, or some of it will be projected onto you. You're gaining awareness about yourself, and be careful with stress affecting you. Spirituality, self-esteem will be high, and you will be feeling a few days of profound peace. And you'll be clearing your own baggage, so stay in that vibration so you can be positive. That wraps up the intuitive messages. I will see you guys on November 3rd. Until then, I hope you have a fantastic couple of weeks. I will see you soon. Bye.